Good morning, everybody. I'm your host, Ken Rose, and we are live at Tiki Hut Studios today. Well, actually, Joe and I are not in the studio today, but I'm going to let Joe do some introductions because we are having a good time drinking some margaritas. And go.
I don't drink margaritas. Strawberry daiquiris, pina coladas, that's my thing. Anyways, welcome to the Joe Knows Show with Joe Carlisle, Ken, and Lisa Rose, too. And today we have an awesome guest. Are you awesome? Okay. We have.
You can't shake your head. It may be radio.
We have an amazing guest. Banks, how do you pronounce your last name? I don't want to destroy it.
Helfrich.
Helfrich.
Yeah.
Woo, boy, plenty of material there.
That's why I just go by Banks.
Banks.
So, and actually very memorable. So I remember your name because it's Banks,
well,
right?
You know, Joe knows.
Joe knows. Yeah. Joe knows Banks.
It's like money in the banks.
So
that's right.
Welcome, Banks. Banks is actually running for the Florida House. We don't often bring on politicians, but he has a history we thought would be interesting and fit well with Ken and I. So welcome. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, first of all, I'm apolitical, so I'm an apolitical politician. And we can stop it right there with the whole...
Is that like asexual?
It's atypical.
I'm not really political.
Atypical.
It is actually. Anything A in front of it says it's not. My background is pretty wild. I've done anything I've actually wanted to do in my life, so...
Well, good. We're going to get into that. But more importantly, who's running the show?
You got to say hello to me.
Hello, Lisa.
Let me get it to click over. Come on. There I am. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Rose.
Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
Sorry you're in the studio again.
Man, they're always at these cool places, and I'm stuck here.
Yeah, she misses the trip.
At Banks, Joe and I are at beautiful Crab Island up in Destin, and we've got the beautiful water behind us, boats, tiki bars, and slides, and all kinds of fun stuff. So while we're here having a good time, Lisa's in the studio as usual because somebody's got to know what the hell's going on in there.
Yeah, and I've already been there, so.
Oh, you already been there.
We're very happy to have Lisa back in the studio.
She was ill.
She was not feeling good, and
you may hear a little cough every now and then, but it's just a residual cough.
Yes, and we're not going to wear masks. Period. End of story. No, just no, hell no.
It was
it's
a
not going to
sinus
happen.
infection.
No masks. Joe, take off your Halloween mask, please. It's offending people.
No, this is real.
Boo.
I earned this.
All right. What do we got going on, Joe?
Hey, I wanted to ask, Crab Island. What do you suppose they call it, Crab Island?
Lisa knows.
I
Crab
actually
Island.
don't know why they call it Crab Island.
But
I mean, is it shaped
But tell
like
us
a
about
crab?
it. How do you get there? What do you do?
There?
I actually don't know the meaning behind the Crab Island, behind the name, but it's just a cool place. It's kind of like a disappearing island where all the boats kind of congregate there to party.
It's only here
it's just very
during
shallow.
Party season.
Very shallow, and all the boats go there. And there's actually a huge inflatable playground, like for kids. I mean, It's ginormous, and they have to pay like a certain fee to do it. But
You're serious? Like the island disappears? What, at high tide?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can only get there by boat or something. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I saw that bridge. I thought that was what is that? The bridge? Is that the bridge from Destin to somewhere else?
I don't know what's behind us. I've been drinking all morning.
I believe so.
Well, there's probably crabs there.
What's it? That's what I'm wondering. Is it shaped like a crab?
No,
because it disappears like a crab at high tide.
Technically, Joe, it's called Crab Island because there's a lot of drinking, partying, people in bikinis.
I invite Banks on because he's a politician. I thought he had a cool vibe.
Oh,
he's running for House, and I always think we could use new blood in the government. Please, God, people, stop voting for these guys who are 190 years old, okay? They still think the same way they did in 1955. and I'm talking about everybody from our federal congressman all the way down to our local area. So if you're out there and you're holding an elected position and you're like over the age of 40, I'm talking to you. Open up your eyes, open up your mind, open up your ears, and close your mouth. Thank you very much.
Well, Joe, I'm 59.
But you're new blood.
I am in an elected position in Lake County.
Are you?
I'm Lake Soil Water Conservation District Seat 1 chairperson, which was I was unopposed. So
What is that position?
What is that position?
What do you do?
What do I do? We have a $1.2 million budget over 3 years. Yeah.
Okay.
We are the biggest financial district. Every county has one. Financially, we're the biggest district, and we cover the 23 counties of the state. So we have a mobile irrigation lab, which goes out and tests water at businesses. Not regulatory.
Gotcha.
And I've been doing that for 3.5 years.
So you're not a bad guy then when you do that. You're helping.
We're saying, hey, this is where you can save money. Or
Yeah.
if you want to save money, this is how you can do it. You do it if you want to. It's up to you.
Now, what's this new position that you're running for?
State House District 25, which is basically 48 Okahumpka, straight down to the Four Corners.
Okay, and then what do you do if you're elected?
What do I do? Basically, I allocate funds at the state level for a budget.
Oh, so
get as much money as possible.
So those funds could be funneled to Brand Squad, Minuteman Press, and if the
Can I get a Remax
real estate in the area,
government contract?
All right. And that's why we invited Banks, because it's all about ourselves. It's all about what we can get out of it.
Pay for play.
Oh, this is why you brought me to this island, huh?
Yeah, you don't say what we like. We're just going to leave you and drive away.
Now,
So it's not going to work.
Well, we have video right now,
too.
so this
See,
is
we're
why.
covering all the bases. That's what we do.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Are you familiar with Jiggle Man?
No, Jiggle
Man. Oh boy,
I know Jiggle Girl, but that's a whole other story.
I can't believe I never thought that up myself.
If you go on and Google Jiggle Man, I am not the big heavyset guy on a couch doing this. Okay, that's not me. That's not me.
All right. Let's not go to
The reason you brought up Jiggle Man?
Well, Jiggle Man actually precedes me. I was at this function this morning in Leesburg. I'm talking to this 3 women, and this one woman says, "You look like somebody I know." And I said, Martin Short, because a lot of people say I look like Martin Short.
Maybe you do.
Oh, yeah.
I sound like him.
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, you're Jiggle Man." I had the pleasure of having her explain to the other 2 women what Jiggle Man does, because I have no idea what Jiggle Man does.
Oh, so you're actually not Jiggle Man?
I am Jiggle Man.
Oh, you are Jiggle Man.
But I don't describe. I don't know how to describe.
Oh, okay.
You just got to see them. You know what, Lisa? Go look up on YouTube Jiggle Man on the Late Show with David Letterman. Just
You've been on the Late
been on
Show
that?
with David Letterman?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, I
I
still
don't know what you
respect
guys
you.
get ready.
Wow. So you must be funny.
We have to see this.
Oh, please.
Oh.
I
All right. You know what? We're going to splice in the clip. Because I can do that.
Okay, people tell you look like Martin. You know, when I was young, people used to tell me that, and
like
I mean
Al
young,
Pacino?
like 20. No, Bruce Willis.
Oh, Bruce Willis.
Oh yeah.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
And then I crossed over 40, and they started telling me I look like Jason Alexander.
From Seinfeld?
From Seinfeld, yes.
I can see
There's
that.
The hair started going.
I would think of more of the Sopranos
got
guy,
kind of punchy.
Gandolfo.
Well, that I got to a place.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
But there was a time where Jason Alexander was probably pretty accurate.
The title actually says Jiggle Man on the Late Show.
That's it.
And he's bouncing on a
That's what I do. That's what I did.
Wow. Wow.
and he rolls across it.
Was that like before your clown days? Is that part of your clown days?
It was after.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Check it out.
check it out on David Letterman. Now, this is exactly why our country's going in the toilet.
What?
So I was reading Banks. It said that you were a Ringling Brothers clown.
Yep.
So when did you do that?
89, 87, 88. 88,
Okay,
87,
back in the 80s.
87.
Back when you were 12. Right?
No. I'm 59. I was going through graduate school at Georgia State University in Atlanta, and the circus came through town, the greatest show on earth, came through town, and they had it was at the Omni, and they had on the marquee, it said, Clown College auditions, and I was a bicycle courier at the time, and I was biking by it, and I was like, ah. So it was like the next day, I just told my boss, hey, I'm going to take a long lunch. I just biked to the back door, went right in, and sat down and auditioned for like an hour and a half.
Really?
And afterwards, the guy came up to me, who was the dean of the college, said, "You've got to apply. You've got to apply." So I applied, and 6 months before I was going to graduate in sports nutrition, I got accepted into Clown College. Went down to Venice, spent 11 weeks, worked with Dick Van Dyke. Then I got a contract to go on the road. Lived in a train car, 4 foot by 6, the size of this table. I lived in.
Tight quarters.
Yeah, very tight.
Ken could never do it. He's claustrophobic.
I'm claustrophobic.
We had windows. So you see the world going by.
It wasn't actually a coffin can.
Oh, I mean, but that had to be a great experience because I've seen Ringling Brothers at Madison Square Garden, growing up as a kid. So it was always a big to do because they used to bring the elephants through the Lincoln Tunnel. They would walk them through the tunnel.
Right.
So it was always a big event when Ringling Brothers came to town. But I guess it's no more. That's it.
No.
I got to go to one.
Did you go to Ringling Brothers?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. 3-ring circus.
Do you know why circuses aren't profitable anymore?
Because the animals?
The lawsuits because of the animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's
like PETA and
ASPC. They were always suing them because of the animals, and
Cirque du Soleil is all human.
Yeah.
So there's no animals.
Right. Well,
and Cirque du Soleil is $250 a ticket.
Well, because humans are able to negotiate contracts better than animals.
I've always wanted to see that, though.
Yeah, me too. We can set up some trapeze in the bedroom if you like. I'll fly across the room.
Ken, that's a different show, all right?
All right.
We're going to offend somebody.
We have somebody here running for office. We want to try to keep this one halfway respectable, okay?
Well, Joe, Ken, I ended up marrying a showgirl.
Really?
Who ended up being a trapeze artist.
Really?
Well, there you go.
Are you still married?
We are not.
You're not. No. She ran off again. So
hooked up.
Okay.
Sponge diver.
I was going to say a sponge boat. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Okay.
Ken feels so much more relieved now.
They're okay for a very short time. And then they just start.
It's the way it goes. It's a quick trip.
Ken should be blonde.
Oh, boy.
But they're all natural sponge.
That's right. They're all natural. Oh, too much.
A sponge boat.
Actually, do you know why that area is known? Do you know why it attracted so many Greek immigrants?
Was it because of
sponges? It's the only place in the world, big industry prior to World War II, for sponging, or actually for centuries, just off the coast of Greece. And the people that, when that area started to get into turmoil after World War I, a lot of those people immigrated to the United States, and the thing they could do if they were sponge divers was move to that part of Florida because it was the same exact, it was the only two places in the world that natural sponge actually grows.
Right.
Nice. And that's where I was born.
No kidding. So are you a sponge? Or are you like...
Were you a sponge diver too? Back in the
we'll be back in 15 seconds to talk about that.
Joe, take us away.
Actually, we are going to take a break, a short pause here to hear from some of the people who support us, who we are very, very grateful for. We'll see you in a second.
Be right back.
Let's talk about something that very few of us pay attention to. Print. Print is something that just seems to go unnoticed, and yet it is so influential in our everyday lives. We tend to go about our daily routines in a busy rush, and let's face it, there are some things that we may take for granted. We wake up and get ready for the day, and print is all around us. Imagine if it wasn't. Well, that's interesting. Now think about the rest of your day, and let's see what life may look like without print. Our drive to work would certainly be confusing without signage and window graphics. Do you realize how much print you see at the office? Your desk and walls would really look different without the wide variety of products you have all around you, such as brochures, pens, and flash drives. And that great little lunch spot? Well, it would be pretty hard to place an order without menus. No more mail? Really? Oh, I get it. Everyone just advertises online. The truth is, over 60% of online searches are conducted because of print marketing campaigns, including direct mail advertising, flyers, and catalogs. You see, print isn't just about magazines and newspapers. Print is about communication, and at Minuteman Press, we can print your name, image, or logo on just about anything. As a business owner, how do you get your message across and build brand awareness? From marketing and sales materials to labels and bags, to banners and flags, even custom branded apparel with your name and logo on it. At Minuteman Press, we design, print, and promote you. We are the modern printing industry. Find your local center today at MinutemanPress.com.
Yeah, so if you want to sponsor the show, reach out to us because we have 5 sponsor spots available. Or 25, and we'll have no show. But either way, we'll get you out there. So
and welcome back.
Are we back?
Yeah,
we're back. That's it. We're back.
We didn't go anywhere. Like I said, it really is. See, here's the concept here, Banks. We do this live because we can. Okay. It gives some of our viewers a chance to be. See behind the scenes and see us live. A lot of people, they want to be first up. So that's what we give the people what they want.
Well, speaking of behind the scenes, our producer just found some information for us. Lisa, what are you going to share with us?
Yeah, so about Crab Island.
Yes.
It did get its name because it was shaped like a crab before a hurricane submerged it.
Wow, okay.
It's a shallow underwater sandbar near the iconic Destin Bridge that is the epicenter of fun in Destin. As boats anchor and people wade in waist-deep emerald green waters. So, yeah.
Oh, so it's not even really above ground at all, ever?
No, I was wrong when I said that.
Oh, it's very shallow.
It's just very shallow.
It's a place for boats to congregate and party.
Yeah.
But it's definitely,
definitely
above ground, though. Yeah. I mean, look behind us. I mean, otherwise, we'd be drowning. It would be a tough show to do underwater.
That could be taken from a boat.
We're just treading water now.
We're on a boat.
So,
all right. Well, you are running for as somebody who's hoping to have a House position. I wanted to bring this up. I saw this the other day, or late last week. Did you know that the U.S. House of Representatives passed a very interesting law? According to the House of Representatives,
what was the law?
It is legal to smoke marijuana in the United States. They passed a law making marijuana legal.
Well, has that gone all the way through now?
No, just passed the House.
Passed. Okay.
What I thought was terribly interesting was for the past 3 months, there's like 100 congressmen that have been buying up cannabis stock.
That doesn't surprise me.
It's one of the reasons the stocks have gone up in the last few months.
Well, I was listening to Schumer. and because he said that he was excited that this bill was passing. I'm thinking, this guy's like 107. Yeah. He's probably got a weed farm in his backyard, and he's like, yeah, mama, can I go out and play? Yeah. So just some funny stuff. So go ahead.
It's got to go through the Senate, though.
But still,
it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
No.
Depends on how many of the farmers that are senators.
But here's the thing. They're buying it up now because they can get away with it because they know it's not going to pass. But it's kind of like the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. They tried that back under Clinton in his first term, and they tried it again in his second term. It's one as you pay because it passed the House. It's now in the lexicon. It's in people's minds, becoming normal. Oh. At some point, I mean, there's like 49 or 46 states it's decriminalized in, and I think there's 10 or 12 that it's actually legal, and another 30 that it's medically accepted in. So, it's amazing to me that it's the incrementalism, the long-term plan. So if you're a congressman and you just bought $1 million worth of cannabis stock, you know it's going to increase slowly because cannabis industry is growing, right? And you can get away with it now because it's not terribly obvious. When you think it's going to actually pass, well, then you're not buying it up. You're going to hold on to it so it doesn't look like, and then you can say, "Oh, I've owned that for 5 years." Nobody looks.
Congress that they're working on it, and that is that no congressman or congressperson can invest, or they have to be open with their investments.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
So there's none of this going on.
Isn't there a form of that says that while they're actually in office, they can't directly trade in anything?
This is a bill that is.
Now
they have to be transparent.
The thing that I
unlike
wonder,
Martha Stewart,
they're going to have to. I just. Knowing how politics works, I'm wondering what the loopholes they built into it is. Managers, children, right?
Well, you bring up the word politics. How about if we had politicians that were, if we took out the politicking part of being a politician? And I know that's it's very hard to wrap your head around, but there's no politics into it. And what I mean by that is not being associated with a team, with a blue or
right
or a right and a left. Someone that is there just for the people, is there to represent you and you and you and all the people back here swimming, instead of being like, I'm with this party, this group.
Right.
Aren't they called an independent?
They are.
Well, but again, they're their own group.
Right.
See, but I think the challenge is as much tribalism, for lack of a better word, is not just the tribalism, it's the money that's gotten involved. Okay, corruption follows money. Yeah. It just does. It's always. I had a friend who, I used to think he was a crazy conspiracy theorist, and I sat down with him one day and he said, "Joe, just follow the money." Out the money for me. Some of his crazier theories didn't seem so crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you're so true in that. I signed a pledge about 4 months ago, and that's U.S. term limits. That's all the U.S.
Right.
in Congress have term limits.
As they should.
House and Senate, they have it here in Florida. That way, you run for like 3 terms, and that's it. And your last term, you're not collecting money from the lobbyists because it's your last term.
Right. Right. So I think that, one of the things we've gotten away, I know in the state that I'm from ostensibly, New Hampshire, right? When I was a kid in school, if you were in the New Hampshire House, Senate or House, you got paid $50 a year. It was to account for your gas.
Sure.
So you ended up with a lot of guys who were like college students who were in the New Hampshire House. You had people who were retirees in the New Hampshire House. You had people who were, but it wasn't, they only met, I mean, occasionally for a certain limited time, typically in the summers because of, winter.
Right.
But now it's a job and they still get per diem.
Well, here it is.
And then some.
New Hampshire, live free or die, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's you all, okay. To be in the state house in Florida, it's about $27,000 a year to do that job. And basically, you're going up to Tallahassee 3 times for about 6 weeks at a time. Sometimes the governor will say, hey, come back up to figure out a plan, which is they're going to be doing in the next couple weeks. $27,000 is not that much money.
Right.
I mean, I'm not doing it for the money. $27,000. It's not $50 though. My God.
Yeah, $50. $50 you can't even drive up to racetrack to refill.
My only point is that any time that money follows an elected position, I mean, let's face it. If you live in Washington D.C., what does a freshman House member make? $140,000,
something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. That's not. I mean, you can live okay. But you're not living congressman lifestyle.
Right, well, because in D.C. it's expensive. You go to Georgetown or the surrounding area.
So what ends up happening is, it's not just lobbyists. It's money comes to them, comes to their family. Money, I mean,
right.
Without naming names, we have some perfect examples of someone who has been in political position for a very long time. And as we start to track the last 30 years, closely to them have been quite enriched. Mm-hmm. The average, I did a term paper on this 15 years ago.
That'd be
last
longer
time
than
I went
Joe.
to college. No, last time that was the last time I went to college. I tried to.
1973.
That's a little too young, buddy. Speak for yourself. So, but this term paper was all about, it was actually shocking to me because I only had a theory, but the term paper became about how wealthy congressmen are at the end. And is 10 times wealthier than when they start. Democrats, on average, are 15 to 16 times wealthier than when they start. Republicans are 4 times wealthier. One of the reasons for that, though, is Republicans in general start wealthier. Okay, they're not community organizers that get elected. They're not, waitresses making $27,000 a year and suddenly they're making all this.
Well, they're more of a
money.
blue collar.
Yeah, more of a or they've worked, they built businesses. Yeah. Republicans tend to be older when they're elected, and that's part of the reason too. But the point is, these guys come out. I mean, I'm just amazed that people won't look at their own tribe and say, you could call me conservative, but I'm not conservative the way it's defined today, And so when you look at your own tribe, if you look at somebody who never had a straight job, who was never paid more than $200,000 a year, and they spend 4 or 8 or 6 or 12 years in office, and they come out and they're worth $57 million.
I want that job.
Hey,
I want that job.
What do you think I'm running?
There's something wrong, right?
Well, you know what, Banks? Remember the little people that got you started on their silly little podcast.
Brand Squad, yes. Couple things, Joe, I want to say, and that is money does not vote. People vote, okay? And 2 things I do as a politician, and I have started running, my campaign day that I announced was September 8th, 14 months before the election day. 2 things. I meet people and I ask for money because money is what helps get the message out. Now, granted, not always.
Right, but it's a vehicle.
It is a vehicle. However, the bottom line is money does not vote. People vote. So this position of $27,000 a year, people put hundreds of thousands of dollars for this position.
Sure.
Do you remember the movie Brewster's Millions? Okay. The question becomes, he's in that run for he's not even running, but he's it. And at the end he says, why would you spend $10 million for a job that pays $67,000?
Well, because in theory it doesn't make sense, but if your aspirations are greater and greater, your opportunity to make substantially more and more income becomes greater.
Okay, in the state of Florida, 4 terms as state house.
Right.
2 terms as state senate.
Okay.
2 terms as governor.
So that would either be
24 years.
8 years or, well, no, if you went in each job.
Yeah, if you went in each job.
So you'll be 85 by the time you're done.
Actually, I'll be 74. Yeah. No, wait.
You'll be the oldest governor ever elected.
Well, because I'm working in round numbers. I'm thinking 60 and 24 is 84, 85.
Oh, you're right. I would be.
He's going to have a really strong lieutenant governor just in case.
Hey, my dad is 92. My mom is 91.
Oh, so you got potential.
Nice.
And they're pretty sharp.
As a matter of fact, you could come off of being governor and go straight into the Congress.
Right.
And you'd fit right in.
Joe, you and I could be like his spokespeople
That's right.
when he's in the governor's mansion.
Yes.
We'll be sitting out there in front of the mansion. Hey!
The head of staff, you know.
Remember, Fran?
Don't put me in front of the press corps, I'll tell you.
Hey, wait a minute. I thought we were supposed to have fun.
Well,
We're having fun. I don't know about you.
We're so serious.
Did I say you'd have a good time? No.
You're the target.
I am.
Well, you know,
I'm in the middle with the bullseye.
Well, somebody else in this room is considering politics.
Oh.
We're not going to mention who or what, but there's been some
Okay,
talk and
it's
some
not
grumblings.
Joe. I have a criminal record.
So do a lot of other politicians, Joe.
Well, that
Or they'll
keeps
have
Not
that.
like mine.
Oh, it's gonna-
You know what? When we come back, we want to talk about that.
Oh, God.
That fictitious other person
Oh,
may be
boy.
interested. Because you know what? June, I think, 21st is the cutoff date
Oh,
for
is that the
running
cutoff?
for
Okay.
office.
I'll keep that in mind.
So, whoever that is.
I still may be unconscious from my birthday party.
Again, qualifying.
You know,
I have to say, I mean, in all honesty, to Banks and everybody, my mom, when I was in high school, probably middle school and high school, worked in state government for the governor's office, worked for congressmen and senators for many years. So I am probably, at the least, skeptical of people in these federal and high state positions. At best, I'm skeptical. At worst, I'm probably anti position because I've seen what happens. A lot of these guys go to office as great guys, well intentioned, and they come back absolute jerks. And with that said, we're going to break again for our sponsors. We'll see you in just a minute. Tune in.
we'll be back.
Market your brand and personalize your message. Brand Squad opens doors to new ideas, helping to grow your business with smarter marketing. Thousands of promotional items, thousands of ideas. Turn prospects into customers with Brand Squad's memorable promotional products. Simple marketing, effective results. We do the thinking, you do the winning. Brand Squad, on point with your promotional products.
Look at that.
Nice.
Okay, and welcome back.
Not yet, Joe. You have to give us at least 15 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's all right. Go ahead. We're back.
Okay.
Okay,
If you're
Joe.
watching us live, you get how this works. We're going to edit for release tomorrow. So welcome back.
Joe, what is the alternative then? I agree. You have, I mean, someone is in this room is thinking about running. I am running. You want to make life better for everybody. That's my whole thing.
Correct.
How do I make your life better, in a position? Who is the biggest game in town? The biggest game in town is government. They have the most
Correct.
amount of money. They work the slowest, though.
Well,
That's democracy.
Right.
I mean, that's just what it is. So what's the alternative?
Well, I think two things have been around forever is term limits. Okay, and I think that there should be a lifetime term limit. You're talking about if you do the 8 years and the 12 years and the 8 years.
Yeah.
I think that you should have I think the longest term you should be able to serve would be a total of 2 years in the Senate. So it's equals 12 years in a lifetime.
right.
It prevents you from feathering your own nest. Okay, and you would be forced to mentor others. If you wanted your ideas and your concepts to live, you would have to mentor others behind you. That's the other thing that we're missing. Okay, there's no people who are actually in office. They are not mentoring other leaders. They're looking for other power brokers, and that's been the problem. Our founders, many of them went broke serving this country.
Yeah.
Okay, many of them, I mean, even people like John Adams and Thomas Jefferson were flat broke, when they passed away because they'd given so much in the service of this country. And that was 30, 40 years after the revolution. Right. The other thing is, now we could fix campaign finance is just broken. It's just completely broken. I really believe that if you're going to run for office, all of your campaign money should come from the district you're running in. You should not be able to take money from California to win a Georgia race. You should not be able to take money from Orlando to win a Leesburg race, okay? It's got to come from the people that you're serving. And the final thing is, I think that federally, Congress should be subject to every single law they pass. They are still not subject to the same sexual harassment laws or OSHA laws everybody else is, and I just think that's wrong.
Hey, real quick. Lisa, do me a favor. Look up the average age of a member of the House of Representatives and the average age of member of the Senate. Let's look.
Federal. Yep. You're right. There are career politicians, and that's what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. I'll just say it here, and I've said it on the trail. If I don't care anymore, even during this race, if I don't care anymore, I'm getting out. I'm only staying in this as long as I care. I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for the power. I'm in it to help people,
make a difference.
People. Yeah,
it's about making a difference.
Which I think most people are in it. I mean, most of us start off doing that.
Well, that's always the initial excitement of doing that. But then it becomes people are telling you what to do, how to do what you're doing, and hey, I can help you get that. And then it becomes hands in pockets and things, and it becomes something else other than wanting to help.
See, the problem with the career politician, and I've done a study of some of this. Businessmen, we tend to be motivated by money. Okay,
right.
Politicians are motivated by power.
Power.
And I say, and I mean, whether you liked President Trump or not, I don't think the guy got a fair shake his first year. And it wasn't just because of the opposite side of the aisle. It was people within his own party who inhibited him from doing things. Built their own power base and were trying to preserve their own power base. And we see this in everything from support of Republican causes to support of Democratic causes. You can't honestly look at people both on the left and the right who have used race to adhere their power and not really solve.
And that is politics. So I'm saying take the politics out of politics.
So how would you do that?
How would I do that? You ready? I'm going to start at the top. In Tallahassee, create a civility caucus.
Okay.
And it is a group from all parties come together, and their purpose is not party or partisan, red or blue. Their purpose is the issues of the people in Florida. That's where I start.
Well, I think it's a great way to start. I think that both parties, they always vote along party lines, and I don't believe that those people voting along party lines are necessarily agreeing with that vote. I think it's just a sheep mentality of, well, if I don't vote this way, I'm going to be an outcast, and I'm going to be, just like we're going through with the Supreme Court, we have a couple of Republicans that are voting to, welcome Ms. Jackson to the Supreme Court, So they're like, they're defecting, and so then they become these pariahs instead of saying, wow, okay, they've taken the facts, they've used the facts and what they feel and made a decision.
But it's almost become, and those people that are doing that, they've been there longer.
Well, they're 100 years old. Lisa, you got that number?
Yeah, the average age of the members of the House is 57.8,
okay.
And the Senate was 63.
Yeah. So, I mean...
But it's because of career politicians.
So 60 years old.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Us guys. Yeah. So the bottom line is us guys should be up in Washington running the show live. Although,
do you know, I think though that well, for instance, I will use because we're all in real estate. You're not in real estate. 3 of us are in real estate. And there is something called the Sadowski Fund, started 30 years ago. The idea was to put, we started a tax. It's the dock stamps. It's a tax that was supposed to be set aside for affordable housing, so that since 1992 or 93, when it was started, we were supposed to be building housing that regular working middle-class people could afford. The problem is this year is the first year in the history of the fund that they actually gave us all the money we were entitled to, which turns out by law is only half the money they collected. Up until the last 2 years, they've been sweeping 60, 70, 80%. As a matter of fact, last year they tried to pass a law that said housing, the Sadowski Fund, would only get 20% permanently from this day forward. Now, thankfully, we all lobbied really hard, and that bill got defeated. But my question to many members of the Florida House has been, what part of housing do you not understand?
Your Florida House.
It's house. It's the Sadowski Housing Fund. And we have problems today in our market. Is you can look at all the influences and factors, but it comes down to this problem was anticipated 30 years ago, and it was the people in our government that ignored it, and they used it to do things like study manatees, which needed to be done but should not have come from the housing fund.
Well, they're trying to house them.
Yeah, they're trying to house them.
During the winter hibernation season.
Maybe we should have made it simple. Maybe we should have called it the People Housing Fund.
The Human Fund.
The Human Fund.
Joe, every 2 years...
Till I get upset about this?
No, I love this. I absolutely love this.
30 years. It's 30 years, and... let's face it, most of those guys up in Tallahassee, they have not been there 30 years.
No.
Right.
Okay. Typically, Tallahassee, if you're there for 8 years, okay, you're stepping stone to something else.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Which is a whole nother thing that seems really sad, that a lot of those guys don't really care about Florida really to their core. What they care about is establishing a resume so they can run for a better office.
Well, I think that's naturally what people do. When you're hired as a dishwasher at the restaurant, you want to work your way up,
right,
to own the place, and or own your own place.
Right, but you should probably wash the dishes the best you can while you're there. Yes. Putting dirty dishes back in the pile is not going to help you. This is
Put them at the bottom of the pile.
This is the only place. I know you hate the word politics, but
nice metaphor.
Politics is the only job that you can do a bad job and get promoted.
Yes, Joe. Every 2 years, you get a chance to decide who goes by voting.
Right.
I mean, it comes down to voting.
And I do.
Yeah, wonderful. That is good.
But I'm not a sheeple. Far too many people, and the government has encouraged that. We hear a lot about the mainstream media and the problems with the media, but the media is that way because they were encouraged to be that way by the government. You want to stop this stuff with Facebook and Twitter and all them. There's one easy way to stop it. Call the media companies and take away their 503 protections. 503? Is it 503?
Or is it 501c? What?
No, they have protections protections against taxation.
Well, see, they're trying to do that with, I believe, Disney now. Something.
Oh, that's actually a cool subject.
Yeah.
That's actually a cool subject. When that was approved, okay, they, if you don't know what we're talking about, Disney has a special allowance in 1967. I don't know what the name of the act is.
Well, they have their own government.
They have their own
policies.
They operate as if they have their own government. They
Correct.
have their own fire. They have their own police.
Reedy Creek District.
The Reedy Creek District. So here's the thing. In 1967, though, police in the area, government in the area was notoriously corrupt. Okay, and racist. Let's face it.
Wait a minute. In Reedy Creek or in the surrounding
in
areas?
the surrounding area.
Got it.
Okay, it was very racist. I mean, here in Lake County, we had a sheriff that was in front of the Supreme Court 3 times for the disappearance of voter registration workers in violation of civil rights.
The Groveland Four.
The Groveland Four and all of that stuff. Okay, that time period lasted, I think, from 1953 to 1980 when he died. He wasn't even not elected. He just died.
Did he get elected after he died?
Probably.
Probably came close.
I know who else did.
So they gave him. So they gave Disney, and Walt was a good guy, had a good reputation. The idea then was that he could probably police the parks better and cheaper.
Right.
So they gave him tax breaks, but the thing for the tax breaks, the motivation for the city to let him do that was he was getting these tax breaks. They weren't going to have to pay for fire and police and all of those services. He was going to do it all, but it's become something else. So that can easily be rescinded.
Right.
It's not even that hard.
Well,
I think
get
it's
the House and Senate and get the governor to sign off on it. So,
of course, we're assuming,
Well,
certain people are not going to be motivated.
I think it's just a difficult thing when a business entity is forced by either its employees or the media or some other entity to say, you need to say something about this because this is an issue and you need to address this issue.
So your argument is the employees are pushing on Disney to say something.
I think they're looking for Disney as a corporation to be their voice instead of an individual making a statement. They want to hear it from the company because they're working here, and I think that people want that. Nobody wants to speak up. Nobody wants to say, "Hey, this is a problem." They want corporate to take a side. They're making corporate take a side, and I don't know that corporations should take sides in social. I don't know. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I just don't.
Corporations do take sides in elections. I mean, they donate money, and we were talking about
they should
campaign finance.
They should.
Right.
That should just be no.
Yeah, yeah. You were talking about real estate. 1,000+ people are coming to Florida every day to live here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming. The number one reason is because of the beautiful climate we have. The beaches, the hills.
That no income tax.
That too. The first one though is like we want to get away from the weather. If there's 1,000+, we have to put them somewhere, so they have to stay someplace. And I'm getting to real estate here. We are going to have to develop. Development is going to happen. They're coming here because of the environment, so we have to make sure those two marry each other. And I don't know if you know what Groveland is doing. Groveland is very forward-thinking.
Yes.
They have three programs. One is Dense City, and that's 10% open space. Then they have Villages, which are 30% open space. And then they have Hamlets, which are 60% open space, which is, it's uncalled. You very rarely hear this. And they are taking the environmental preservation and the development and bringing them together to work together. Because you see over in Mineola when the whole
everything's gone, all the trees are gone.
Yeah, and
we live.
I mean, it hurts.
And it's growth. I mean, but that's where government has to step up and say, well, you can do this, but you're going to have to do this.
Right.
You have to preserve something. You just can't.
Or if you're taking down a bunch of trees, you need to plant them somewhere else.
Right.
But here's the thing,
Joe.
Oh, it looks like we are taking another break to hear from our sponsors. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
We got one more of these, right?
And we're right back.
Yep.
We got as many as we need.
No, we're
How many commercials do we have?
Well, we're in this is our last segment.
That would be 3.
Okay.
So this would be our last segment.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. I was having this discussion today. 1,100 people a day are coming here. And I go to these meetings, planning and zoning, city, again, they don't want to approve an apartment complex because they don't want to attract people. The people are already here. One of the dumbest things I heard recently was somebody said they didn't want to allow some attainable housing attached to an apartment complex that's already been approved. Right. So the idea was these 400 units have been approved. There's this other place that wants to put attached to them. They'd worked it out with the private developer. They're going to do an additional 70 units that are set aside for people making $55,000 a year median income. Right. And their excuse was, well, that'll add to the traffic. And my thinking, and so my point is, government doesn't put 2 and 2 together the way the rest of us do. I add 2 and 2, it comes up to 4. They add 2 and 2, it comes up with 3.79654 squared.
Correct.
Okay?
Which is
they complicate it. So here's the worst part. I'll take that traffic argument. I think it's bullcrap. It's just the excuse they use, but it's the traffic argument. Is the people that can pay $2,000 or $2,200 or $2,500 a month for an apartment, they're going to own an average of 2 cars. All right. Those cars already been approved. They're coming. That's 800 cars on the road. Most of them not living and working in Lake County. Most of them living in working in Orange County.
Correct.
Do you know why?
Hang on.
Okay.
So we're only talking about the 70 apartments.
Okay.
For people who earn $55,000, those people are going to average a half a car a family. The reason that they're putting it there is so those are the people that live and work in this community. You're not adding extra cars. Here's the best part. Those people that's going to fill those 70, if they own a car, they're living in Brooksville or Mascot. They're on the road already.
Correct.
So it's that concept of we don't want to do this because sometimes you have to look, it all comes back down to I want to get elected again. So I'm going to say anything I need to say. I'm going to support every dumb thing I need to say, even if it's a detriment to the area that I'm serving. Sometimes you need to look at the electorate and say, hey, this is the truth. Social Security.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Or even taxes. Who wants to talk about raising taxes? You're talking NIMBY, not in my backyard. No, we do not want these apartment complexes coming and these people that are only making $50,000 a year. Here's the issue. In Lake County, you cannot work and live here.
Correct.
Exactly.
You have to live in Polk County. You have to live in Marion. You have to live somewhere else. That is traffic. And I get your argument as far as keeping the people here, working here, so that they're not traveling to Orlando or on 50, okay? So, yeah, that's my point.
Then we need better paying jobs in this area to keep
Well,
them from
ultimately,
traveling to Orlando.
that's the goal. Ultimately, that's why the city of Claremont has gotten involved with Lake County to develop the northwestern portion of the new Turnpike exit Mineola to bring a tech corridor, a high-tech, high-paying jobs, much like Research Parkway out at UCF, because you can't keep opening up retail and trying to staff retail.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It doesn't pay.
And manufacturing doesn't bring a lot of big paying jobs unless you're welding and you're doing these other things.
Well, you know about the Kroger installation that's out
Kroger.
there. Okay, so Kroger, Amazon's out there. You're going to have more and more of this big industry.
Right.
Okay, but again, I'm back to somewhere somebody needs to look at reason. Okay, see, and this is part of I say a lot of this I realize goes back to the progressives took over the education system back in the early part of the 20th century. And we got away from what was known as liberal arts, which was at the time was defined by math or by
liberty.
By liberty, but it was defined by reason, debate. Honest debate was. So when I grew up, you had a debate club. You didn't get to pick the side; they assigned it to you, and then you had to argue that side. And sometimes you learned something because you had to argue again. You had to argue for the side you didn't really agree with. When the debate was over, we didn't go out and back and beat each other up.
Well, no, that's only now.
That's only now.
Current events.
So the thing that I struggle with many of these ideas, I love high-paid jobs. Look, the Wellness Way, the Olympia Center, all of this is going to be great, but all of those jobs are still going to only attract people who can afford $2,200 for an apartment or afford $2,500 for a mortgage. And the big problem is we're not building enough. So you can say, I want to preserve the environment, but how much of the environment's going to get preserved when people are living out there crapping in the woods like hundreds of... That's where we're headed.
You're talking homelessness, and everything is connected. The industry, the Kroger's,
the whole infrastructure is
everything is connected, and you can't just look at one thing and go, this is what we're going to do with homeless, or this is what we're going to do with affordable housing. They're all interconnected. So my point is, what is the purpose of government in this case? What do you want government to do?
Frankly, I want government to get out of the way.
Less regulations.
Less regulation. The market always adjusts. Right. Okay, when we talk about pollution. And environmentalists love to say, oh, we fought in the 70s and the air was cleaner. Of course, that doesn't lead to their power. So in the same breath, they'll say, oh, we did a good job, the air is cleaner, but we need these rules because, we need clean air and clean water. The reason the air is cleaner is because technology changed.
Right.
There was a more efficient way, a more affordable way to produce the things we produced other than putting smoke and toxic fumes into the air. It wasn't because of government regulations. It was because the market adjusted. People bought what was more efficient. And I find that the government, in an attempt to preserve their power, makes useless rules. Okay, taxes. You brought up taxes.
Yep.
History will tell us if you lower taxes, you increase revenue. It's not even a question anymore unless you're watching television. Okay, any economist that looks at the history of taxes will tell you. John F. Kennedy did it. FDR did it. Not FDR. Who replaced FDR? Was it not Eisenhower?
Don't make me quiz on my history.
Who replaced FDR? Who was it? He was the one that dropped the bomb, not Johnson. Truman. No, was it Truman?
Carter?
No,
that was later.
Anyway, so
somebody
when the war ended,
it wasn't Banks because he's not elected yet.
When the war ended, he dropped taxes and revenues skyrocketed. Reagan did the same thing. Dropped taxes, revenues skyrocketed. Ushered in a time of economic abundance the country had not seen ever. Same thing happened under Donald Trump when they lowered taxes. What happened in a year? All this offshore money came back. The joblessness practically went away. More people were buying houses. They were more affordable. But still, government always thinks, oh, if I approve this tax, it'll get better. Taxes are never.
So what you're saying is less government. Is basically you're saying less government, more freedoms, correct?
More freedoms, yes.
Yeah. Less
but
regulation.
But it's more basic than that. Put two brain cells together. Government, particularly the feds, the Senate and the Congress, they have this ability to connect four dots that aren't connectable. But they'll go around 19 ways instead of connecting and seeing, they'll connect four dots and they'll say that makes a tetrahedron. I'm like, no, it's a square. I don't care what you call it. I don't care what you're trying to fit into it.
Right.
It's still a square is still a square. There are consequences to everything that we do. And they tell you that it's going to solve your problem, but the solutions that they have never, ever solve the problem unless you have an outlier like Donald Trump was. And I'm using Donald Trump because he's the most famous outlier. But unless you have an outlier, somebody who doesn't fit into the system, it doesn't, their solution never actually solves the problem they want to solve. But I'll go back to housing. Perfect example. Right. Economic crash. The market was horrible. Florida led the nation in foreclosures.
Of course, 2008, 2009.
Yeah, 2008, 2009. Yeah. But the reason was not because there was anything wrong with our market, okay? The only thing that was wrong with our market in 08, 09 was fear. The reason we led the nation in housing foreclosures was because we led the nation in second and third homes. So if you live in Detroit and your tile business is half what it was the year before, you're going to pay the mortgage of the house you live in and default on the one
you vacation in.
Right. Government changed several, but because there were so many foreclosures on the market, the government changed several rules about foreclosures. One of them used to be, it was a great rule, left over from the 30s. If a bank had a foreclosure, they had to put it on the open market as an individual transaction, and only owner occupants could take a whack at it the first 15, 30 days. Right. The other thing that they changed was before 2012, if you were buying a foreclosure and you were a business and you bought 100 of them, you had to put in 100 offers, 100 closings, 100 transactions, 100 inspections. They changed that and allowed bundling. And it may have been a solution at the time, but what they did was they didn't limit that. Okay, here's the worst part. They allowed the bundles to be sold to the same guys who brought us bundling of mortgages and caused the whole meltdown problem in the first place. Again,
right.
Dude, why do you trust the guy that just screwed the whole nation? It just didn't make sense. A reasonable person would have said, hey, Bob, I love you, but, we're not giving you another $1 billion shot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You stole from us, and that's just the way. And when I say less government, I don't even want less government. I just want them to start thinking again.
I think you need to run for office.
Yeah, well, again, we're back to Joe has an extensive criminal record.
All right.
They're not going to elect me as dog catcher.
Joe, I have 2 cards. I believe in choice, okay?
All right.
One is my dog is Buddhist, and the other one is perfume the world with basil. Which one would you like?
Perfume the world with basil.
There you go. That's my card. And then you turn it around and you
There you
see
go.
who I am. And I gave both of them to you.
So what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, is
What does
your,
that
is your
mean?
dog Buddhist?
You're apolitical. What does this mean?
I mean, I was staring at the cards and I'm like, his dog is Buddhist. What really does that mean? Does he just sit around all day and
Maybe he's like a big fat pug and he just looks like a big Buddha.
And who is Basil? Is this some English guy who smells
it's
good?
the food. It's basil. You know that. You're Italian.
It's a spice or
giving you a
seasoning.
hard
All right, so this is what happens when they see this. I hand this to them. Most people don't, like you. You don't
Right.
know what to think, and more than not, they're going to turn it over and look at the card, the
Right.
real card part of it. So
And then it sparks conversation because they're like, what does this mean?
the other thing I was thinking about doing is wearing my name tag upside down.
Well, speaking of what does this mean? I mean, the name Banks. Were your parents Bonnie and Clyde, and just because their love of robbing banks, they gave you that name? Where did Banks come from?
It's my mom's maiden name.
Oh, okay, all right, great.
So, yeah, my real name is Eric with a K, Banks Helfrich.
Gotcha.
And then when I moved to Claremont, I changed it to Banks, running for office, Banks Helfrich, and you can do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it's an odd name, so it's very recognizable
Right.
when people go to the voting booth.
I always thought it was your last name. I
I'd
just
be like
thought you went
Helfrich.
by
I
your
don't know.
last
I
name.
can't find it, but Banks sticks in.
Right,
you know?
right.
It's like Rose sticks in.
And I will
Short
agree with you
form.
that meeting people is the way to get elected, particularly for smaller office. I mean,
yeah.
a lot of our politicians have gotten so used to an ad, or they get used to those things propelling them that they don't actually meet people. So that's you're at least listening to people. I do have a recommendation about your name tag though.
Sure.
Don't wear it upside down. Wear it sideways. When people say, "Oh, do you know it's sideways?" Say yes, and so am I. And that'll lead you right into your apolitical.
nice.
There you go.
Well, do you know why I wear it in the middle? I wear it in the middle because not right, not left, forward.
Oh,
okay.
How about that?
Although you're a little
like
left right
that.
now.
Oh, am I? How about now?
You're cocked
I'm
one way or the
leaning
other.
towards him, so I am a little more right, I think.
Well, as we wind up every show, we each take a minute or two, and we give ourselves.
This is called the shameless plug.
It's called the
by way.
shameless plug. So you're going to go last because you'll watch us do our shameless plugs.
And this is our marketing minute. We call it
Right.
the shameless plug.
I
Go
have
ahead.
2.
Oh well, we're gonna let
Well, you have 2.
let
That's
the
okay.
beautiful Miss
hang
Lisa
on, Hang
start.
on a second. Let me just. I've got technical issues here. Anyway, I'm Ken Rose with Minuteman Press. We design, print, and promote you. If you need some printing done, if it has to go on paper, cardboard, signage, posters, even vinyl for your outdoor banners, give me a call. We're right here in Claremont, 304 Mohawk Road, 352-394-7770. We are the only printer in town that turns things the same day without an upcharge. So Minuteman Press, and passing the torch down the corner there.
I'm gonna let Miss Lisa go.
Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, we're not editing that.
Hey everyone, I'm Lisa Rose with Brand Squad. I have 2 specials this week. First one are cool letter openers. It's a cool way to get your name out there. It's one thing that more than likely people will reuse again. I mean, I personally have one from, I should have one of my own, but I have one from another business.
Well, there you go.
But these are, you get 250 of them for 71 cents a piece. There is a one-time setup of $40 plus, of course, shipping and sales tax. But this one, speaking of real estate, this is a great one. I just did one of these, and I don't have her actual picture. I asked her for a picture of it, but I have not gotten a response yet. But this is just a 18 by 24 full color metal yard sign. It's $82.60. And she also bought 3 sign writers because she was thinking ahead. One says sold, one says pending, one says for sale. Those are 6 by 24, which fit down on the bottom down here. They are $17.70 each. And both material is made of a 3mm white aluminum composite. Setup charge is $25. Shipping was $30. So she was all in for the sign and 3 sign writers, full metal, for $201.95. So not a bad deal. Anyway,
not a bad deal. And as you know, that I represent Remax Titanium. I'm a full-time realtor. I tell people all the time I'm a plain vanilla realtor. Means I specialize in personal residential real estate. Okay, my tip for today is have a plan. Okay, we talked before about when you start the process, you got to have a mortgage. If you're going to buy a house, you need a mortgage. This even goes if you're going to sell a house. You got to start looking at what your mortgage is going to be when you look. So the tip today is then you got to have a plan of where you're going to go. Some people that's into a rental, some people that's into something short term, some people it's into the Winnebago that's in the yard.
At Joe's house.
But it's true. Or what is your plan for getting a house before you sell, or at least while you sell? If you have questions about that, go ahead and give me a call, 352-360-8387, or you can find me on email at onejoeknows@gmail.com.
Joe knows, yes.
You're up, Banks. It's all about you now,
Kim,
man.
Thank you. Lisa, thank you. Joe knows. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Accessibility. The number is 22,221. Random number, total random number. That's the amount of people that I want to meet on this campaign. All right?
Wow.
And you guys
That's a lot of cups of coffee.
How far are you going?
you all are 6,432.
All right.
That's a
Wow.
made up number. That's a made up number too, by the way.
Wow. I'm honored to be made up.
It's being accessible, and that's something that we alluded to early about being in front of people, talking to people, getting to meet them. I will not know what is in your mind or what you think unless I come and give you my time.
I don't know what's in my mind. So,
do we want to know what's in your mind?
What are you running for?
Yeah.
How can people find you?
Okay.
Let them know.
Okay. My name is Banks Helfrich. I'm running for State House 25, District 25, and reach out to me on bankshelfrich.com. And Banks actually elect Banks for Florida House at gmail.com.
And actually, one more thing, I think Banks was completely right. We've said this here before. It's easy to get twisted up about a lot of the things going on in the world, but the real truth is, if you are struggling with anything about this country, whether you're on the left, right, or in the middle, the only way you really have to influence is go exercise your vote. It is the unique thing that makes you American. So
November 8th.
Register early.
Everybody, have a great week, and we'll see you next week on the Joe Knows Show.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And I love you.
Bye-bye.